Okay, video number 2. Hey everyone, my name is Alexis and welcome back to Awaken Your Life Yoga. Today is another chatty video and I'm really excited about this one. This is basically my 7 best tips to have a really great experience in a yoga class. And this is especially aimed at people who have never done yoga before or who are kind of new to yoga and still kind of feeling out the experience. And hopefully these tips will help and kind of give you a better understanding of where yoga is coming from, how you can best approach the practice as a whole, and also just enrich your experience. Yoga has the ability to change your life. I always say it changed my life because it really truly did, but everything about changing your life, changing how you live in the world, comes from your perspective, because it's not just a physical practice. It's a mental practice, it's an emotional practice, and it's a spiritual practice. And it's something that the more we do, it builds on itself. Tip number 1 is you don't have to look like the teacher. In fact, be assured that you will not look like the teacher. Every human body is different. We are all unique and beautiful in our own ways. And one of the clearest places I think you can see that variety is in a yoga class. I can't count. I've lost track of how many people have told me that they can't do yoga because they're not flexible enough, they don't look like the teacher, they're not strong enough, they can't do headstands or handstands or the splits, but that's not the case. Yoga is for everybody, and it doesn't matter if you can get into the splits, it doesn't matter if you can stand on your hands. What matters is that you arrived. You made it to your mat. You did the hard thing. After that, your goal is to move in a way that feels good for you. It's to move in a way that is true to what your body is feeling. And this is what sets beginner yogis and advanced yogis apart. It's not the ability to do splits, it's not the ability to do a handstand. Advanced yogis know their body, know their limits, and also know their capabilities, which leads me into my second tip. Tip number 2, props don't make you a beginner. Props make you an advanced yogi, so use your props. I did a whole video on props, I will link it below. Props are a sign that you understand your body's limitations because we all have them. Every body will not look alike. That's one of the beauties of all life, is there's variety. Every person is a little bit different from the people around them, and that's a good thing. Props are your friend. You'll see me use props in all of my classes because that's what I do in my daily practice. I'm always using props because they support me being the best I can be on my mat, on my yoga mat, and off the yoga mat. So have a set of blocks, have a yoga strap. If your studio provides them or you have one at home, use a bolster. Those are things that you can incorporate into every pose that you do just to make things a little more accessible. So with blocks, you can use them to bring the floor up to you. Straps just help you reach things that are farther away. I have, again, like I said, I have a whole video about this and I will link it below. Tip number 3 is everything you do in a yoga class will be done on both sides. Yoga is based and kind of designed and influenced by gymnastics. The poses and the moves that we do in yoga originated in gymnastics. So if you aren't familiar with that sort of style of movement, gymnastics or ballet or dance, it's a very common thing. You're gonna do everything on both sides. You're gonna hold warrior 2 on the right side, and then you will go into warrior 2 on the left side and hold it for about the same amount of time. And you're gonna do that with every single pose that works with one side of the body and then the other. If it's just like a standing forward fold, obviously you're working both sides at the same time, so you don't need to worry about it then. But that's kind of something you can rely on, is after you've done a whole flow on the right side, you're gonna do the whole same thing on the left side. Tip number 4 is choose your own adventure. In a yoga class, you'll hear a lot of teachers say, at any time you can take child's pose, at any time you can take downward dog. You can also take Tadasana, mountain pose, whenever you need. If there is a pose that you don't think you can do, or you are not comfortable doing, or you're just like, my body can't do that, then don't. There's nothing wrong with it. If you're tired, if you're doing a power yoga class and you're doing a lot of planks and you're tired, go back into downward dog, go back into child's pose. You don't get bonus points for hurting yourself or overextending yourself or risking your well-being. You don't win if you hurt yourself. You win if you don't hurt yourself. That's how you win at yoga. And if you ever feel like you can't do a pose, or you're just not there, or your mindset just isn't there today, that's okay. Choose your own adventure, which also leads me to my next tip. Tip number 5 is all about the breath. Yoga is all about the breath. I myself like to say that if you can't breathe, you have gone too far. Very similar to when you start running. When I started running, I was not a runner. Growing up, I did not do anything that involved running because I hated running. But when I became an adult and started living on my own, I was like, I'm gonna try this running thing because why not? I got the Nike app and started doing their guided runs. And the coach in the Nike app would say, slow down. Slow down again. Slow down, you're still going faster than you think you need to. And the idea is that when you are running, so often we try and just burst forward and put all of our effort into it right away, but that's not sustainable. Similarly, when you go on a hike, you don't want to walk so fast that you can walk 5 minutes and then you have to take a 5-minute break. You're not going to get anywhere very far, and it's going to be a slightly less enjoyable walk because you're going to spend less time walking. So you want to find a consistent, sustainable breath pattern. And the same is in yoga. Even if you're doing power yoga, even if you're doing hatha or vinyasa, something that's a little quicker in movement, you still want to focus on your breath. You want to be breathing in and out through your nose evenly. You don't want to be gasping for breath as you move. So if you're holding a plank and all of a sudden you can't breathe as deeply as you could a second ago, move out of your plank. If you are in a warrior two and all of a sudden you're like, wow, it's really hard to catch my breath, stand up, maybe come into Tadasana and breathe. Same thing in any pose, right? If you're in a twist and you're twisting so far that you can't really breathe, you've twisted too far, and just come out of it a little bit. Again, you don't get bonus points for hurting yourself. Winning in yoga is not injuring yourself. The next tip is about trying things. Now, like I said, yoga is very much choose your own adventure. If you are presented with a pose or a movement pattern or a breathwork pattern or a meditation experience that you're just not really feeling, you're not really vibing with, it's okay to not do it. That's part of knowing yourself, is knowing if something's going to make you uncomfortable or something's going to not be beneficial for you. Additionally, if your teacher tells you, don't do breath of fire if you have heart conditions, don't do inversions if you're on your period. Listen to your teacher. Those are usually medically sound suggestions and you want to listen to those. However, if you are just a little apprehensive because something is new, and this comes back to knowing yourself, if say your teacher is like, we're going to do lion's breath, which is where you stick your tongue out and cross your eyes when you breathe out. It's a lot of fun, but it totally looks silly. And sometimes it can be hard. You can get self-conscious, you can get kind of uncomfortable with looking a little silly, and that's okay. In cases like that, where you're just a little apprehensive, you're a little unsure, I would challenge you to try whatever it is 3 times. So in the case of lion's breath, if you've never done it before and you're like, I'm gonna look so dorky, that's okay. Just try it 3 times. The first time will help you acclimate to how it feels in your body. The second time, I can try it kind of knowing better what the process is. And the third time, I can really sink into whatever the experience is. So if you're presented with a pose or a breathwork pattern or a meditation and you're just like, I don't know, am I gonna look weird? Is this gonna be odd? I don't know. It's okay to feel those things. And I'm going to challenge you to try it 3 times. And of course, the caveat to that is if you're just like, no, I don't wanna, that's fine too. Choose your own adventure and just ignore it and move on. No problem. Yoga is about creating your own experience. It's about learning yourself to an extent that you know your own limits, you know what you're comfortable with, but you also know where you can challenge yourself and push yourself. And those are both really important. And I really encourage you. The process of yoga is going to bring stuff up. That's just what it does. It brings up emotions, it brings up thoughts, it brings up deeply held limiting beliefs, and it brings up feelings we have about our bodies. That's just what happens. But in yoga, I think we're given a better container to sort through those things because there's also a mindfulness aspect. Within the Yoga Sutras, which is sort of the main text of yoga, there are 8 limbs of yoga. One of those limbs is asana, our physical practice. And it's 1 verse on these physical postures that we do. And all it talks about is the importance of finding balance and ease. We call them stira and sukha. Stira is strength or stability or structure. Sukha is sweetness or ease. And in every single yoga pose, every single breathwork pattern, every meditation experience that we do, we're trying to find the balance of both of those. Because ultimately, we're trying to find that balance within ourselves. We're trying to figure out where we can be strong and also where we need to give ourselves ease and how to live a life that is both easeful and strong. Brené Brown talks about this a little bit too, and strong back, soft front, open heart. My last tip is a little bit more of a practical one, and this is if you are in a yoga studio, respect the environment of the room. So don't try super challenging poses when everybody else is in Shavasana. If the room is kind of quiet, if the teacher is playing soothing music, don't start jabbering with the person next to you. Don't make a lot of noises. Don't make a lot of exclamations. You want to respect the energy that is around you. A lot of people come to yoga to relax, to connect with their inner self, to find a sense of peace in a busy day. And it's important to both honor our own experiences, but also to honor the experiences of others. Ultimately, yoga helps us understand ourselves to such an extent that we can understand other people better. And ultimately, that's what makes us better humans, is when we can empathize and understand other people and honor our own experiences while also making room for other people's experiences. So, like I said, yoga is ultimately an experience that is shaped by you. I like to say, and my teacher says, that your yoga mat is a laboratory for your life. How you interact with and how you address challenges or change on your yoga mat is often how you address and encounter challenges and change in your real life. And that's a beautiful thing. It gives us a mirror to see ourselves and to see our life in a slightly more manageable container. So no matter if you feel like an elephant or a ballerina on the yoga mat, both options are okay. What matters is that you are honoring your own experience. As you move through your yoga poses, pay attention to how you feel, pay attention to what you're thinking, pay attention to what you're saying to yourself, and just pay attention to kind of how you feel in the room, how you feel as an entire holistic being with a body and a mind and a spirit and a soul. Yoga is ultimately a mental, spiritual, and emotional experience. And we use these yoga postures to drop into our body so we can better understand ourselves holistically. Anyways, that's all I have for you today. I hope these tips help, and I hope they'll make your next yoga experience, whether it's in a studio or on YouTube or in an app, whatever you're doing, I hope it makes it a little bit better. And I'll see you next week for more yoga. Have a great rest of your day. Bye for now. Oh no, I forgot about the tea thing. And then you're gonna move into your left side and hold warrior two for about the same. I knew that would happen. Are you gonna be poking me the whole time? Lighting, lighting, lighting. This is Norman. Okay, we're gonna start over.